Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back and welcome to another episode of Mondays with Margaret. Today is all about a retelling. Margaret Atwood's Hag-Seed was originally published in 2016, and it is the fourth book in the Hogarth Shakespeare project, in which Hogarth Press commissioned authors to retell Shakespeare plays for a modern audience. The project was launched in 2015, and there are 8 of these so far. Othello was retold by Tracy Chevalier, Hamlet retold by Gillian Flynn, The Merchant of Venice retold by Howard Jacobson, Macbeth retold by Joe Nesbo, King Lear retold by Edward St. Aubyn, The Taming of the Shrew retold by Anne Tyler, The Winter's Tale retold by Jeanette Winterson, and The Tempest, which is the story about a play within a play, told by Atwood. And she does the same thing here using similar names and themes such as second chances, grief, revenge, and continuing the theme of prisoners that we had last week with The Heart Goes Last. Hag-Seed takes place in 2013, and Felix is the main character. He has already had a lot of loss in his life at the beginning of the book. His wife has died, and his 4-year-old daughter, Miranda, has died. And after Miranda's death, Felix throws himself into his work as an actor and artistic director. And he is working on The Tempest. And his goal is to, in some way, keep Miranda alive through this play, kind of like a reincarnation. And all of these plans come to an end when Tony, who is kind of like his business partner, he lets Felix know that he is being terminated from his job. Because Felix's work with The Tempest was so closely linked to Miranda, the loss of this job is like losing Miranda all over again. And Felix decides to move to a cottage. And he does his best to keep himself busy, but he's decided to completely exile himself from his former life, and especially from his theater life. So he even takes on an alter ego and becomes Mr. Duke. And Miranda also lives with Felix, and Felix knows that this is not real, that it's his delusions and daydreams of her, but she is very real to him and even grows up over the years and helps him. And eventually Felix decides that he has to figure out his purpose and what he is really living for. And what he really wants, he wants 2 things. One is that he wants to get his Tempest back. And number 2 is that he wants revenge on Tony and Sal, who are the 2 people who had worked together to get rid of him. So Felix begins with the revenge part, and he starts tracking Tony and the many awards that he's winning over the years. And he follows along as Tony and Sal start to work in politics. In year 9 of his exile, Felix takes a job and he becomes a teacher at a correctional institution. When he goes for the job interview, Estelle, who is the woman that's interviewing him, she recognizes him as Felix Phillips. And Felix decides to teach the prisoners Shakespeare rather than what they usually are taught, which is Catcher in the Rye, the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. He wants them to perform, and he makes a deal with Estelle that if it doesn't work out in a few weeks, that he will go back to teaching them Catcher in the Rye. But the job gives Felix new life, and he does Julius Caesar and Richard III and Macbeth with them, and his program becomes very successful. And Felix is a natural, and he's very clever in how he handles the prisoners and how he teaches them. And they have great respect for him. So for the 3 months a year that he is working, things go very well. But the rest of the time, when Felix goes back to his cottage and he's alone all the time, he doesn't do so well. And then one day, Estelle has good news for Felix. She says, his program has been so good that they are going to have important visitors, that they have guests that are coming to see the performance that year. So it is 2 federal ministers who will be coming. And these 2 federal ministers end up being Sal and Tony. And because of this, Felix decides to do The Tempest that year. And he, again, has watched both men get into federal politics, and he wants to take on the theme of revenge. So the prisoners don't want to play the female parts. So he gets a woman who was going to be in his original Tempest to play Miranda, and she's going to play that in this new play. And as they prepare the play, Felix also prepares his revenge, and he gets some help from the prisoners. Then when Estelle finds out that the government is actually not planning to continue funding the program no matter what, Felix says that he can help with that. So the plan for how they take revenge is a little strange to me, and the story kind of lost me a bit here because there was such a build-up, and it does work out, sort of, but then the book ends with the final assignment for the prisoners, and they are asked to share what they think would happen to each character in the play after the play is done. And they do a great job with the assignment, but I just kind of felt let down by how this ended. I think I was expecting something different. That being said, I did enjoy this book and seeing the take that Atwood had with it. And I did like the idea of having Felix do this in the prison. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Wally Lamb, who is one of my favorite authors. And he does a writing program with women in the York Correctional Institution. So it reminded me of that. And the story also has a bit of, not really magic, but like mysticism to it that I really liked. And I also enjoyed how it shows the importance of literature and what we can learn from literature. So at the end of the book, Atwood acknowledges a number of writers and films that were helpful for her. So if you are interested in The Tempest and Hag-Seed, then that might be a list to check out. Please let me know if you have read Hag-Seed. Are you familiar with The Tempest? If you are familiar with it, what are some things, some elements in it that you would want to keep in a retelling? I would love to hear your thoughts about any of that. I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.